Hey everyone, Mike Morales here, your 2020 GNR president. I'm sitting here today with Sean Bakhtiari from 5Vacation Rentals. Sean is also a member of our Government Affairs Committee, and we have some important information that we'd love to share with you regarding short-term rental ordinance that's being proposed at City Hall in the city of Newburyport. So Sean, let's just dive into it. What can you tell us about this ordinance?
All right, so this ordinance was brought forth by the city of Newburyport to regulate short-term rentals in the city of Newburyport, but excluding Plum Island, which has long been a vacation rental destination.
That's very important information. Thank you for sharing that. What in your opinion is the motivation or the goal of this ordinance?
It's still yet to be clear what the exact goal is of the ordinance, but through private conversations that I've had, it's my understanding that the goal is threefold. Number one, to limit nuisance in the city, limit noise, limit the trash, limit parking nuances. Number two, the goal is to limit investor-owned properties that are owned specifically to rent out for short-term vacation rentals by investors. And then number three, the goal is to clarify and regulate the process in which dwellings can be registered in the city as a short-term rental.
Now, Sean, I know that you and the rest of the Government Affairs Committee have been working hard and diligently on this topic to educate us. Can you tell us or share with us some of the work that you have been working on and been doing to get as much information about this ordinance as possible?
First and foremost, I've been meeting with councilor members in person and communicating over the phone and via email just to talk about the language of the ordinance and make sure that it makes sense for all parties involved. There's been public hearings that I've been attending as well, and that's interesting to hear both sides of the argument, people who are pro-ordinance and people who are against the ordinance. I've been having conversations with more residents and short-term rental owners that I can count. And then lastly, we've been talking to legal counsel at the state level and the Massachusetts Association of Realtors.
Sean, as a realtor member, why is this something that us as realtors should be concerned about or engaged in when trying to work through these different details of this ordinance?
That's a great question, and first and foremost, as realtors, our main priority is to protect private property rights. As it stands right now, there's about 2% of housing units in Newburyport that are being used specifically for short-term rentals. What we've seen is that the majority of the short-term rentals are self-managed. They're owned by the actual owners, their first or their second home, and they're renting it out to pay for their mortgage and their monthly expenses. There's very few short-term rentals in Newburyport that are specifically owned by investors for investment purposes only in the short-term rental market.
Do you know when the next discussions or public hearings will be? I'm sure they're going to be subject to change given the national crisis that we're in right now.
We know right now that the next public hearing is scheduled for April 15th. Whether or not that'll happen all depends on the global pandemic we're experiencing. But as it stands right now, it's April 15th, and I definitely do plan on attending.
This is important information that we want to pass on to our realtor members. And thank you all for tuning in. We'll do our best to keep you posted about the next public hearings that will be happening in the next several weeks. But of course, subject to change given the national emergency that we're going through. But again, we'll do our best to keep you posted. But please feel free to reach out to myself or Sean with any additional questions that you may have. And Sean, thanks again for all your time and hard work.